Manacor, Mallorca, July 2026. The Mediterranean sun beats down on the clay courts of the Rafa Nadal Academy, where legends are forged and champions are made. And on this day, the most famous student in the Academy's history has just received an invitation she never expected. The call came from the man himself, Rafael Nadal, the 22-time Grand Slam champion, the king of clay, the man whose name is synonymous with excellence, grit, and an unbreakable will, had personally invited Alex Eala back to the Academy, not as a student, not as a graduate, but as something far more significant, a returning champion seeking refinement. The tennis world is buzzing because this isn't just about training. This isn't just about practice sessions and fitness drills. This is about a legend taking the time to invest in a young player who has already conquered Wimbledon's center court, who has already beaten Iga Swiatek on the biggest stage, who has already climbed to world number 28. But here's what nobody is telling you. The invitation came at a critical moment. Eala's serve had been exposed at Wimbledon. Her lefty advantage was being underutilized. The US Open was just weeks away. Now, with the greatest left-handed player in tennis history watching over her, Alex Eala has a chance to transform her game completely. Welcome to Rallyverse. The story of Alex Eala and the Rafa Nadal Academy is not a new one. It began when she was just 13 years old, a scrawny kid from Quezon City who had just won a tournament in France. She was scouted. She was offered a scholarship. And against all odds, she packed her bags and moved to Mallorca, Spain, leaving behind everything she had ever known to chase a dream that seemed impossible for someone from a country with no tennis tradition. Her brother came with her. Her parents stayed behind, trusting that this gamble, this insane, terrifying gamble, would pay off. For years, she trained on the clay courts of Manacor, learning not just the technical aspects of the game, but the philosophy of the academy. Discipline, resilience, the understanding that champions are built in the invisible hours, not just on match days. She graduated from the academy in 2023, walking across the stage to receive her diploma from none other than Iga Swiatek, the very player she would later dethrone on center court. The irony was not lost on anyone, but the academy never truly left her. She was always an alumna, always a product of the Rafa Nadal system. And now, after her historic Wimbledon run, after the tears, after the presidential citation at Malacanang Palace, after climbing to world number 28, she was being invited back. Not as a student seeking basic training, not as a graduate making a courtesy visit, but as a champion seeking refinement, as a player on the brink of greatness who needed the final piece of the puzzle. And the person extending the invitation was the man himself. The invitation came quietly. No press releases, no grand announcements, just a private conversation between a legend and his most famous protege. Rafael Nadal, who had returned to training at his academy roughly a year after his professional retirement, had been watching Eala's Wimbledon run with great interest. He had seen her defeat Swiatek. He had seen her composure on center court. He had seen a nation of 110 million people come to a standstill to watch her play. And he had also seen what everyone else had seen. The serve that was too slow, the lefty advantage that wasn't being fully utilized, the tactical decisions that made no sense. Nadal had previously trained with Eala during the off-season ahead of 2026. He had given her advice on her forehand, sharing the wisdom that had made him one of the greatest players in history. She had called it something special, a moment she would never forget. But this was different. This wasn't just a practice session. This was a targeted intervention. This was a legend saying, "You're close. So close. But there is one thing holding you back, and I'm going to help you fix it." The tennis world was stunned, because Nadal doesn't do this for everyone. He has trained countless players at his academy, but he rarely takes a personal interest in their development beyond the occasional practice session. Eala was different. She was special. She was the one. According to sources close to the academy, Nadal had specifically identified Eala's serve as the area requiring immediate attention. The same serve that Martina Navratilova had called too much of a puffball. The same serve that Jasmine Paolini had exploited at Wimbledon. The same serve that had baffled Swiatek, but remained a glaring weakness against more astute opponents. Nadal's message was clear. Come back to the academy, train with the best coaches, work on the serve, use the lefty advantage the way it was meant to be used, and return to the US Open as a player who can win the whole thing. To understand why this invitation is so significant, you have to understand what the Rafa Nadal Academy represents. It is not just a tennis school. It is a philosophy, a way of life, an institution that has produced some of the most disciplined, mentally tough players in the world. The Academy has built its reputation on the belief that discipline beats drama, that consistency beats flash, that champions are built in the invisible hours when nobody is watching. Eala has been part of this system since she was 13 years old. She has trained under the watchful eye of Tony Nadal, Rafael's uncle and longtime coach. She has been coached by Joan Bosch, who has been with her for 3 years at the Academy. She has learned the Rafa Nadal methodology inside and out. But this invitation is different. This is Rafael Nadal himself taking a direct interest in her development. This is the 22-time Grand Slam champion saying, I see something in you. I see potential that has not yet been fully realized, and I'm going to help you reach it. The Academy's preseason training includes intensive sessions with professional coaches, roughly 20 hours of tennis training a week, and a focus on both physical and mental development. Eala has been through these programs before. She knows what to expect. But this time, she will have the personal attention of the man whose name is on the door. The timing is perfect. Eala has 3 tune-up tournaments before the US Open, the Mubadala City DC Open from July 27th to August 2nd, the National Bank Open in Toronto from August 1st to 13th, and the Cincinnati Open from August 8th to 23rd. She also has an exhibition match at the Stars of the Open on August 27th. She has a short stretch of rest before returning to action, and she has a legend waiting to help her. So, what exactly will Eala be working on at the Academy? The answer is simple. Her serve. Navratilova had been brutally honest about Eala's serve during Wimbledon. It's too much of a puffball, she said. The serve that worked against Swiatek had been exposed by Paolini, who attacked the second serve with aggression and precision. The statistics were damning. Eala was hitting serves at only 80 to 85 miles per hour, even though she had the physical capability to hit them at 105. She was not using her left-handedness to its full advantage, hitting most of her serves to her opponent's forehand instead of using slice serves to the backhand. Her tactical decisions were, in Navratilova's words, crazy for a lefty. Nadal, the greatest left-handed player in tennis history, knows exactly how to fix this. He built his entire career on the lefty advantage. He developed one of the greatest serves in the game using slice and kick to pull opponents wide and open up the court. He understands the technical adjustments required, the grip change, the wrist position, the throwing motion, and he has the coaching staff at the Academy to implement them. But it's not just about technique. It's about mindset. Nadal has always been a player who believes in himself unconditionally. He has never doubted his ability, never questioned his place among the greats, and that is the mental shift that Eala needs. Navratilova put it perfectly. She's got the slice down pat. Just believe and hold her ground. Belief, that's the missing ingredient. Eala has the skill. She has the craftiness. She has the variety. What she lacks is the belief that her serve can be a weapon against anyone, not just against players who can't handle it. With Nadal's guidance, Eala can develop that belief. She can transform her serve from a liability into an asset. She can add 20 miles per hour, improve her placement, and start using her lefty advantage the way it was meant to be used. And if she does, the US Open becomes not just a possibility, but an inevitability. So, where does this leave us? Alex Eala has been personally invited by Rafael Nadal to return to the Rafa Nadal Academy before the US Open. She will train with the best coaches in the world, work on the serve that has been identified as her biggest weakness, and prepare for the year's final Grand Slam with the personal attention of a legend. The US Open begins on August 30th in Flushing Meadows, New York. Eala will be seeded in the main draw for the first time in her career. She will have a first-round bye. She will be expected to perform at the highest level. And she'll be ready, from the cracked courts of Quezon City to world number 28. From being a 13-year-old girl alone in Spain, to training alongside the greatest left-handed player in tennis history. from being told she couldn't do it to standing on the brink of a Grand Slam breakthrough. Alex Eala has defied every expectation. And now, with the greatest champion tennis has ever seen watching over her, she is ready to take the next step. The tennis world is watching. The Philippines is watching. And at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Manacor, a legend is preparing a champion for her destiny. Laban always. And remember, on Rallyverse, we bring you the stories that define the sport, the drama, the rivalries, the moments that change everything. Stay tuned for more.